Greetings, BENZTRAINZ from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, follow up on that Repaint 595 that showed up today. Got the rear tabs bent down and have to address the front ones. I have to be careful not to really tear this up. It's really difficult to get to these tabs. Anyway, I've got these two bent down. You can see it removed the paint from them. Anyway, I've got the motor mounted. Now, one of the problems with this was they had the wrong crossbar on it. The crossbar that was on it is out of a Commodore Vanderbilt. It is much, much wider with much shorter tabs. And that's why the motor kept falling out on the rear. Anyway, the rear plate was really, really bent. So I had to re-bend that, put a new crossbar on the front, got the motor mounted. Still haven't sorted out the push rods. They're still 180 degrees out of sync, but this is up and running. I tested it on the bench. This is going to be its first trip around the rail. I've got it on a Lionel consist with 10 cars. It runs forward only, but it's running. $10 on eBay. Let's see how we do. So as you see, it's actually running quite well. Now this was junk. This was absolute trash. You see it's got that wobble. That's because the push rods are out of sync, 180 degrees. So once I get those sorted out, it's actually going to run quite well. Whether I'm going to leave it blue, I have no idea. But I think the whole idea was to make it look like a blue comet. But whoever did this just literally butchered this locomotive. Not just the shell, but the motor as well. But as you see, that's actually running quite well. That's 40% power, pulling 10 Lionel cars. So it reinforces everything I say. Don't overlook the junk. I mean, this was some real trash when it arrived. That motor was never going to run again because of the damaged E-unit. Two mismatched wheels. The E-unit was dead as a proverbial hammer. It was never, ever going to run again. The push rods are 180 degrees out of phase. One of the handrails is missing. But as you see, a bit of judicious tweaking, this old locomotive is up and running. And not just running, it's actually running quite well. Pulling 10 Lionel cars with no problem at all. So anyway, it was an interesting project to get this thing sorted out and running. But like I said, whoever worked on this just absolutely butchered this old locomotive. So obviously this was not the motor that was in this shell, because it had a Commodore, it was either a Commodore Vanderbilt or a Marx 994 front crossbar on it. So replaced the crossbar, that put the motor back in the right position. Had to bend the rear plate. It was really, really tweaked. Of course, had to bypass the E-unit. And as you see, this old locomotive is up and running. And not just running, but running really well. So it was worth the $10. So am I going to tear it apart? Very likely not. I really don't like to tear apart a running motor. And even though it only runs forward, as you see, it's actually running quite well. Now I have the option of respraying this, spraying it black. It'll look like it just came out of the factory, actually. But as you see, it runs well. It was definitely worth the $10. Like I said, the guy had it on eBay for $29 with free shipping. I offered him 20 bucks. That was basically 10 bucks for the locomotive and 10 bucks to ship it. That's about what it costs. So as you see, it was worth the time and the money. This old locomotive is actually running really well. So, anyway, as I stress, don't overlook the junk. This is pulling 10 Lionel cars at 40% power. Take it up to 50%. All right, there's 50% power. And as you see, that is more than fast enough. This thing is zooming around this rail. Let's slow it down. I don't want to derail it. All right, back to 40% power. So is it perfect? Nope, it sure isn't. Far from it. The thing is, it was $10 and it's a running locomotive. And I always stress, if you're willing to get your hands dirty, if you have a way to pull the wheels, press them back on, and you know how these motors work, you can fix anything you can find. This motor was never going to run again, ever. The only way to get this running was to completely gut it and replace the E unit, or in this case, it was a lot quicker and a lot simpler just to bypass it. So all I really have to do is pull one rear wheel off, synchronize the push rods, press it back on, and for all intent and purpose, this locomotive is finished. As you see, it runs quite well. So $10 on eBay, made the guy an offer, so it was worth it. Just in parts alone, it's worth that much. As you see, it runs well. Strange to see a blue 595, but it actually doesn't look too bad. And it's running just absolutely splendidly. So I actually bought it for parts, but as you see, when you get something that's running this well, even though it's far from perfect, I'm really hesitant to tear anything apart that runs this well. Running just absolutely splendidly. So in any case, a quick follow-up on this 595. Now this thing was junk, no doubt about that. This was some bottom of the barrel junk. I mean, somebody had just literally butchered this old locomotive. But as you see, it's presentable, it runs well, it runs forward only, but it's running. So in any case, the only thing really left to do is snip off that marker. Now you see, this one is missing, but it's been painted over, so it was missing when he did this. I don't know why he didn't just go ahead and break that one off and then paint it. Anyway, he also didn't remove the stack, he just painted over it. But he did remove the handrails, and one of them is completely missing. So in any case, far from perfect, but it's up and running. It was cheap. Like I said, the parts alone are worth $10. There's no problem with this locomotive at all. It runs forward only, but as you see, it's actually running really, really well. So it was definitely worth the $10. So a quick follow-up. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.